Hi and welcome back. In the last video we began learning about using Microsoft Expression Web for setting up sites and creating pages and also organizing the content of our site. In this video we're going to continue on by learning how to add some basic types of content to our web pages. We're going to learn how to add text, how to add images to our page, as well as how to create hyperlinks and set up tables of information. Let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to go ahead and open up my index page right here. And you can see my flashing cursor right now. And I want you just to take note of the fact that right now my cursor is in this teal box with a P on it. And also notice these two elements right up here. And don't worry if you don't have the P, if all you have is body right now. But I want you to be aware that those symbols are there. If you know a little bit about HTML, you can see what's going on there. If not, as we learn HTML, you're going to become familiar and you're going to see the purpose of these little tags. Now, adding text to your web page is very, very simple. All you have to do is simply type the information in. I'm going to go ahead and type welcome to my home page here and then hit enter. And that's all there is to typing text into your web page. You can also copy and paste information from other applications into your web page. Now, if you're going to do this, I'll give you one bit of caution. Oftentimes, if you're copying and pasting from, let's say, a word processing program like Microsoft Word or WordPerfect, you're going to not only copy the text, but you're going to copy a lot of formatting information and styling information. And when you paste that information or that text into Expression Web, into your web page, that style information may fall over. And what that's going to do is it's going to make it extremely difficult for you to work with CSS a little bit later. So whenever I'm copying and pasting information, text, from one application to another, what I do is I copy the information and then I paste it into a program like Notepad, into a plain text editor. I then recopy the information in the text editor and paste it into my web page. And what that's going to do is it's going to remove all the styling information and will leave you just with nice clean text to format with CSS. And again, the Windows Notepad program that comes with Windows does a great job of that. Don't use WordPad, use Windows Notepad. You want a plain text editor. And in this case, I've gone ahead and copied some information from another document, and I'm just going to go ahead and paste that information in. Now, during this course, you're going to be able to, you're going to see me execute commands using sometimes the menus, sometimes right-clicking, sometimes using keyboard shortcuts. For things like copy and paste and save, it doesn't matter how you do it. Whatever way you're most comfortable with. Well, I'm going to go to the edit menu and select paste here, and that just pasted that paragraph of information in there. So very simple to add text to your web page. Adding images is also just as easy. Now, before you can use an image in your web page, it needs to actually be added to your website. And again, we created these folders here, and we created a folder specifically for images. So you would want to add any images that you want to use in your web page to this folder. I've gone ahead and I have just a couple sample images right here. And I'm going to go ahead and copy those. And then I'm going to go ahead and go into my local site folder here. And I'm going to go into images and paste those two images in there. I'll close that window and bring Expression Web back up, and you'll probably be able to see the images that you added in your images folder here. Now in my case I can't see them, and this sometimes happens with Expression Web. You add some resources to your site, but they aren't appearing actually in the folder list right here. If that's happening for you, the way to correct it is simply go to the View menu and select Refresh, And now you can see, I can see those two images that I added to my site. Now adding those images into your web page is very simple. You just drag them over. So I can go ahead and drag that image right over there. It's going to ask me to bring up, or it's going to bring up this accessibility properties dialog box and ask me for some alternative text. And alternative text serves a couple of different purposes. One is when a search engine comes to your website, it's going to be able to read the text on your page and understand a little bit about the topic or the keywords for your website. But what it won't be able to do, search engines won't be able to actually see the graphic. So if you have a graphic, you need to type in some text to describe what that graphic is. Shouldn't be very long. It should be under about 64, 128 characters. But I'm just going to go ahead and type sample photo of building here. And then click OK. And you'll see my image has been added to my site. So very simple to add images to your page. You could have also gone to the Insert menu here and selected Picture and From File and used this dialog box to select a picture and insert it in. Either way works. Dragging and dropping is a little bit quicker. To delete an image, you just click on it and hit the delete button on your keyboard, and that's gone. So adding text and images, very, very simple. Now the next thing we want to learn how to do is how to create hyperlinks between different pages. Now before we can do this, we need to create a couple of extra pages in this site. I'm going to go ahead and right click right up here, select New and HTML to create a new web page. And I'm going to call this one about.html. And we'll do that one more time. I'm going to right click on my top folder here, do New and HTML, and we'll do contact.html. Now you can make text or pictures into links. Let's do text first. I'm going to go ahead and click to the right of Welcome to my home page and hit enter. And I'm just going to go ahead and type home page and a space. And I'm going to use what's called the pipe symbol, the up and down line symbol. That's that symbol right there. It's probably on the key below your backspace key. Home page, about us. Again, I'll do that symbol and contact. So now I've got some text here. I'm going to highlight that text and go to Insert, Hyperlink. When you do that, this dialog box is going to appear, and all the different pages that you have in your site will be listed here, as well as any folders. Well, this link for home page should always go back to the index page, so I'll select that and click OK. I'll now highlight About Us, insert Hyperlink, and select the About page. I'll highlight Contact, insert Hyperlink, and do Contact. I'm now going to go ahead and save that page, and I'm going to highlight those links because I need them on these other pages for it to work as well. And I'm going to copy them. I'm going to open my About page and just type About Us as the headline. Paste those links in there, and then sample, paragraph. Just need a little bit of content on there. And then I'm going to go ahead and do contact information, paste those links in, sample paragraph. And again, I'm going to need to save all my pages. Now, when you're inside of Expression Web, you're actually editing the page. So I can't actually click on these links. So I need to be able to preview this in a browser. And fortunately, Expression Web, it's very easy to do that. You just go to the File menu and select Preview in Browser. You can see a list of browsers that are installed on your machine. And you should always test your pages in multiple browsers. And I would recommend, if you don't already have them installed, install Google Chrome, Firefox, and Apple Safari onto your computer. Your computer should already have Internet Explorer, and it should be the most recent version. So we'll select Internet Explorer here, and there are those links. And when I click on About Us, I go to that page. Contact, I go to the contact information page. Home page, I come right back here. So my links are working well. Now, those kinds of links are called internal links because they link to a page in your site. You can also create what are called external links to link to pages outside of your website. So let's see how we do that. We go ahead and close that, and I'm back here on my index page. I'm going to click at the end of my paragraph there and hit enter, and I'm going to type click here to go to Timothy Web Design. I'm then going to follow the same process. I'm going to highlight the text, go to the insert menu and select hyperlink. Now, before we were able to select one of these pages here because we were creating an internal link. Now we need to type that address down here into the address bar. And it needs to be the full web address. In other words, you need the http:// at the beginning of the link. So again, click in the address bar and type in the web address that you wish to go to. And then I'm going to go ahead and click OK. Save those changes and preview this in a browser. You can see that link is there, and when I click it, it's going to go to the website that I indicated. We'll close that browser window. Now, one thing that you frequently will see done with external links is that instead of when you click on the link it just opening a new page in the same window, that it'll open a new window or a new tab. And in order to do that, so it leaves the old page or the original page that linked to it open so the person, it's easy to get back there. In order to do that, you need to edit your hyperlink. I'm going to right click right here and select Hyperlink Properties. And you're going to see here's the dialog box exactly like it was when we set this link up. And you could have done this when you were actually creating the link. But I'm going to click Target Frame this time. And page default is the default, meaning whatever the browser default is will take place. But I'm going to select New Window to force the browser to open a new tab or a new window when I click that link. I'll then click OK and OK. Again, you did that just simply by right-clicking on that link and selecting Hyperlink Properties from right here. And now, when I save this and go ahead and go to the File menu and preview it in a browser, when I click this link, instead of it opening in the same window, you'll see it opens a second Internet Explorer window open up and opens that page. And when I close that window, I'm still back at my original page. And we'll close that and we're back here in Expression Web. So internal links and external links, very easy to do. Now if you wish to use an image as the link, again that's also very simple to do. Let's say I want to use this image here as a link to a web page. I'm just going to go ahead and click on that image and then go to Insert Hyperlink. And this time I'm going to go to a different website. You can type in whatever website you want. And I won't set the target frame here. I'm just going to click OK there. save those changes, and I'll preview this in a browser. And when I hover over that image, it now has this hand, which is the same as for a text link. So when I click that, you'll see the page that I linked to will open up. And I can close that out and come back into Expression Web. So creating links, very, very simple inside of Expression Web. And again, if you want to edit the link, all you have to do is right click and select Hyperlink Properties from right here. Now, the next kind of content that you may want to be able to add to your web page is a table of information. Now, tables are used for two different things in web design. One is what we're going to do here, and that's actually creating an actual table of information, like what you would think about when you think of a table in Microsoft Word or WordPerfect. The other purpose for tables in web design is actually creating the page layout, where you would have a row up at the top for the header, a column here for the sidebar, another column for your content, and then another row for your footer. Using tables for page layout is always going to be a bad idea. I do have some videos on working with table-based layouts on my site, and you may need, if you're going into web design, you may need to learn how to work with table-based layouts, because a lot of them exist. But they're very difficult to work with. They're very sloppy, they don't work very well with CSS, and they're very limiting as far as what they allow you to do. So you should at all costs avoid using tables for layout. And again, going back to an earlier discussion, we talked about the different aspects of web design. We're going to control our layout or the positioning of our elements by using CSS, which is going to be a much easier, much more flexible, much more full-featured way of laying out a web page. But there's no reason why you can't use tables for actual data tables of information. So let's say I want to create a small table for some test scores. I'm going to go ahead and hit enter there, give myself a blank row, and then I'm going to go to the table menu up here at the top and select insert table. And you can go ahead and fill out the various pieces of information here and sort of play and explore with them and see what they do. But largely when we're setting up tables, we're going to again use CSS to control the way they look. So for right now, all I'm going to do is type in the number of rows and the number of columns that I want in this table. And I want there to be 3 rows and 4 columns. And I'm going to go ahead and click OK, and you'll see that table has now appeared on your web page. And again, there's no real formatting going on here. Again, we're going to do all of that with CSS. And you'll see when we deal with HTML how you can set up tables very easily. So I'm going to go ahead and type a name here, and then test1. Test 2. Don't worry that the rows are or the columns are kind of shifting around. That's normal. And then we'll do test 3 there. I'll do John. John didn't do so well in the first test or the second test. And then Mary. So you can see how easy it is to set up a table of information on a web page. And again, you can kind of play with this, and you can see how I can resize the columns here. And if you've worked with a word processor and worked with tables inside of a word processor, this is probably very familiar to you. But again, don't worry too much about formatting or resizing your table here, because we're going to talk more about that when we do CSS. Another thing I would caution you against doing is clicking on your image and using these resize handles to change the size of your image. And that's oftentimes going to create problems, and it's definitely going to create a very poor image quality for you. And again, there are better ways to do that. We'll talk more about that when we get into CSS. So far we've gone ahead and we've set up four different types of content. We've added text, we've added images, we've created different kinds of hyperlinks, and finally we set up a table of information on our page. So very, very easy to add content to your page. And we've done this all using Design View. But if you actually click on Code View and scroll over, you're going to see that Expression Web was actually creating HTML code behind the scenes for you. It's not very clean code, and in some sense it's not very readable, but Expression Web was doing that for you. And in a few videos we're going to begin to talk about this HTML. It's not really as complicated as it looks at first. And really there's no reason why anybody can't in under an hour learn the HTML language. So don't let this intimidate you looking at it. I'll come back here into Design View now. In the next video, we're going to look at a very short topic, and it'll be the last topic before we actually begin our main project, that Fullerton template. And that's simply how to add browsers to Expression Web so that you can preview your web pages in multiple browsers to make sure that everything is looking okay. So I'll see you in the next video.